Gamer, wake up, Battle Buddies 3. Okay, it's not actually called Battle Buddies 3 as you read from the video title, but we're going to be calling that for now. So in this video, I do want to explain both the advantages and disadvantages that you would see in Battle Buddies 1 and 2. And I too also want to explain some ideas that I have that I would want to see in Battle Buddies. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so one obvious advantage that Battle Buddies has is the character designs. The characters were always unique, very memorable, especially in Battle Buddies 1. Now, Battle Buddies 2, on the other hand, yeah, it didn't have as many memorable characters. The only two that I could think of is Strawbell and Onion. But that was only because in Battle Buddies 2, the characters had to fit their elements, and that just removed the uniqueness from each and every one. So I do hope that we get a Battle Buddies 1 style. Okay, so this next point is a strength and a weakness. And what I'm talking about is the Battle Buddies UI. So in Battle Buddies 1, the UI was simple, to say the least. It did its job. You clicked, thing would open. You closed it, thing would close. Sometimes it would have a little bit of animation with the tabs, but that's about it. I mean, it did its job. Now, Battle Buddies 2, on the other hand, oh, dude, that one had a very, very unique style. Everything from the logo booting to the starting screen to the amazing UI tabs and the animation it had to it. I definitely want to see that in Battle Buddies 3. All right, so this next point from here on involves gameplay. So I never saw an issue with any of the buddies in the previous games in terms of like their animations as well as their function. I think they were all unique and served their own purposes. So thus, I see no issue with this when Battle Buddies 3 comes out. All right, this next one definitely is an issue, and I really hated the way our bases worked in both games. Our base would do nothing. It would only serve as a purpose to summon units, and that's it. Meanwhile, the enemy could attack you and wipe out your units. I really hated that. I really hope that Battle Buddies 3 has a similar feature like in the battle bricks, for example, where we have different bases to our liking. We can attack differently. I really hope we get something like that in Battle Buddies 3. And a small little point that I want to add to this is that, hey, I really want to see the Battle Buddies 2 towers return. Maybe not the cardboard style, right? Obviously, but I want to see the lively animation because I thought that was awesome. I really liked how lively our towers looked compared to most towers in tower defense games. All right, this next issue relates to the speed of the game. So everyone, and even Bowie, knows that the game was super slow. But I would want to make the argument that it appeared to be slow. Because, look, let me explain. In most tower defense games, on their hardest difficulties, games would take up to like 30 to 40 minutes. That is a long time, right? Battle Buddies, on the other hand, the most it would be like 10 to 15 minutes. Like, that's nothing, right? But I think the reason why nobody complains about the 40-minute plus games versus the 15-minute plus games that you would see in Battle Buddies is because, well, in those 40-minute games, you can at least run around, you can interact with others, you can jump, you can dance and emo and such, right? But in Battle Buddies, all you had was a screen that moves. And yeah, I guess you could talk with others. But that's about it, man. It wasn't interactive, and I think that's the problem, was interaction. And also, I do want to include this. I think they should add like a ×2 speed play, you know? Kind of like how we see in TDX. That would be nice to have, and I hope we see that as well. This next one is a minor advantage, but I really hope we get to see the dual currency system like we saw in Battle Buddies 1. I want that to return. I love the idea that we could have 2 currencies and have even more chances to summon for skins, and even use the secondary currency as a means to buy buddies in the buddy shop. I really love that idea, so I hope we see that in Battle Buddies 3 as well. All right, this next point is going to be a little difficult to talk about because we never really saw like the full implementation of this, but I do kind of want to see some trait system return to Battle Buddies, like how we saw in Battle Buddies 2, right, where we had fire, grass, and water. You know, those were good, but the issue was when it came to the buddies, right, because they would all have to look like their element, and I didn't like that at all. So I do hope we see a trait system that doesn't compromise on the looks of the buddies, because that does bring a uniqueness to the gameplay. So I really hope we see something like that in Battle Buddies 3 again. All right, so this next point, it's kind of a 50-50. I've seen some people say that it's okay, and other people say it needs to be revamped, reworked, or discarded. And what I'm talking about is the recruitment system. So in Battle Buddies, the way you recruited characters was you would kill a buddy, an enemy buddy, right? And you would have a chance to recruit it. Depending on the difficulty, say you're playing hard mode, it would be 20% chance higher to recruit, and then corrupt mode being a 40. The common buddies that you would see being spammed throughout the map, those were easy to recruit. I mean, it didn't take long to get those characters. The harder ones were the mini bosses as well as the major bosses. Those guys would only appear once and you'd only have one opportunity to get them per map round, I should say. And then of course, then there's the rare buddies. Those are the buddies like Lupa, Flower Girl, Rosem, and Sherman. Just to give you an idea, Flower Girl would have a 1 in 10,000 chance to spawn. But with all these rare buddies, you actually have a 100% chance to recruit them if you manage to kill them. I don't mind the system, to be honest, because look, compared to most tower defense games now that the direction that they're going, I'd rather have that than the slot machine. I'm just gonna be real, dude. I really hate the slot machine idea that most tower defense games are implementing. I don't like that I have to RNG my way to get good towers. I absolutely hate that system. Like, even Battle Bricks falls prey to this. Like, I'm sorry, but anything other than the slot machine system works for me. So I'll take the current system that we have in Battle Buddies 1 and 2. I literally didn't mind it at all. Didn't seem like a burden to me. Plus, I feel like that recruitment system is unique to Battle Buddies, so I think it should stay. But if you have different opinions, just let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And if you have other ideas, that too would be great. So the next issue I want to talk about is replayability. Even though I hate slot machines, there is a methodology that keeps players coming back. So for instance, right, in those games, a new map comes out and it's more difficult than the previous one. Then the level caps are increased. And so what do? You go into the slot machine, you get the heroes that you need, and you evolve them again. And that keeps the players going because it pretty much summarizes to grind, right? There's a purpose in trying to get these characters stronger. On the other hand, with most tower defense games, right? New map comes out, 3 different difficulties with each having its own reward. You beat the map, you get the rewards, and then you just never come back until the next update, which is horrible. So I could see Battle Buddies having 2 avenues to take. So the first avenue would be frequent updates. So in old Tower Heroes, right, we had weekly, even bi-weekly updates. And of course, that keeps players coming back and keeps them engaged. And of course, with every new map that comes out, a rare buddy, right? So it gives you even more purpose to grind. So I think a methodology like this would be fine. But that might be a lot. That might be a little too much to get all those buddies every week or every bi-week, including a new map. Seems a little too much. So this is where the second methodology kicks in. Like these other tower defense games that have stat caps that eventually increase as more new maps release with the difficulty, right? I think that Battle Buddies should have something like that. But instead of slot machines, you would go and try and recruit the buddies you already have. So you would get duplicates. These duplicates that you would get, so we'll use Donnie as an example, right? You kill Donnie, you get a duplicate, you get the tickets from it, and not only that, you would get something called Donnie Essence, right? That's specific to that hero. And with this Donnie Essence, you can increase his attack and his health or something like that, right? You could choose the stat that you want to increase. And let's say there's like a level cap of, I don't know, 10, right? So that when the new map comes out, the level cap is increased to 20, and you could go back and get Donnie again. And that goes for all heroes as well, obviously. But this does come with an issue, and that is, well, what about the boss buddies, including the rare buddies? Those are difficult to get, and as new maps come out, obviously you're not going to be able to catch up, so those buddies are going to end up falling behind. So what I'm thinking is, instead of having them say, like, for example, we'll use Flower Girl, right? Instead of trying to get Flower Girl Essence, which, again, 1 in 10,000, that's crazy. She could probably use any form of buddy essence, right? That would be nice, but of course it should be more costly because after all, you're using any form of essence. Like, that's pretty crazy. So I think something like that would be pretty good. With those 2 options, I definitely prefer option 2, as I think that would bring purpose and grind as well as late term content to Battle Buddies 3. But you can agree or disagree or even add some things to what I've said or even create your own ideas. So let me know in the comments below. All right, that was a long talking point. So this next point I want to talk about is the carriage system / elevators. So look, in tower defense games that has the elevator system still, it's always an annoyance. People come in, you want to play solo, but they won't let you. You want to play with your friends, strangers kick in, you don't want to play with them. But then you have the server system, which gets rid of all of those problems, right? But the elevators become useless. So I'm thinking a good compromise to have kind of a mix of both of these would be, so for example, the first person to join in a particular carriage should have special privileges, like having the ability to limit the amount of people joining, kicking others, having a friends only option. I think that would be a very good implementation. Of course, a problem that I see is that, well, eventually, if many maps are released, how are the rotations of the characters going to be? So I think a fix for this could be that, hey, maybe create new lobbies, right? Each one having its own set of unique maps, maybe like 4 to 5 for each lobby. I think that would be good. I think we were going to see something like that in Battle Buddies 2 as well, if I'm not mistaken. So an implementation like that in Battle Buddies 3 would be nice. Okay, so one issue that I want to bring up is the difficulty in Battle Buddies. So Battle Buddies, for the most part, had always felt kind of easy. I mean, yeah, sure, you would feel the absolute cut of your currency for each time you increase the difficulty, but in the end, it just wasn't as difficult as it should be, you know? Whereas, take, for example, Battle Bricks, where each time you increase the star difficulty, it would get harder and harder. You felt the difference. And that's not even including 2 more mode, which makes things even more difficult. So I'm thinking that Battle Buddies 3 should definitely have some spikes in difficulty, as well as, hey, you know, maybe having their own 2 more mode. Not call it that per se, but have something like it. You know, I saw in the Battle Buddies 2 trailer, one of the maps had like a nighttime event, right? I really wouldn't mind if Battle Buddies 3 had something called, I don't know, night mode, where all the buddies react differently. They all have alt forms, right? And of course, that would mean an even higher increase in difficulty. And maybe not necessarily alt forms. That might be too much, right, for one person to handle. But at the very least, some huge difficulty spike and maybe some new buddies, including in with that night mode that we never got to saw in Battle Buddies 2. So yeah, hope to see that in 3. All right, this next thing is kind of minuscule, but I do want to bring it up, and that is the Battle Buddies multiplayer. I do love the fact that we could play with others. I think it sometimes added a bit of challenge, and sometimes it made things easier. You know, as opposed to like the Battle Bricks where it's just all lonely. You know, I sometimes even think that that's where like the toxicity stems from. You know, because like people can't join your game, right? So they tend to just get frustrated at your playstyle, thus enabling them to become very toxic. Wait, I'm going off topic. That's like me psychoanalyzing a situation there. But anyways, yeah, I definitely want multiplayer to return in Battle Buddies 3, which I'm sure it'll be added. All right, so this next point is very important, and that is the launch of Battle Buddies 3. I do hope that when it launches, it has a good amount of content from the start, because, you know, games like Battle Bricks exist where the amount of content is really staggering. There's literally 3 main chapters, each one having 30 levels with 3 different difficulties, and along with that, 7 sub-chapters, which I'm sure you could do the math yourself. And by the way, that's not even including 2 more mode, which literally doubles that. And yeah, sure, you could say that like most of these levels are just remixes with a little background change, right? But still, content is content, man. Now, of course, with that amount that I just mentioned, I'm not trying to say that Battle Buddies should have more than this from the start. That's ridiculous of me to ask. But I do hope that it has a good amount of content from the start, because when Battle Buddies 1 and 2 came out, only 1 map, and that was just not good. And I do hope that the updates are frequent enough for it to catch up with Battle Bricks, or hopefully even exceed Battle Bricks. But we'll see. All right, this is the final and last point that I want to make. I want Bowie and other workers to work on drive and not motivation. I don't want Battle Buddies 3 to fall prey like the other 2 games where they were just motivational projects. This is literally what killed both Battle Buddies games, since the creators literally had little to no motivation to work at all. But to Bowie's credit, however, I'll quote his current work ethic. This is him speaking, not me. So, at the moment, I've been coding daily for at least 1 hour, sometimes up to 10 for 2 weeks now. Progress is going very great at the moment. Battle Buddies never had this much quality of life built in. Which, hey, that's really good, man. I'm really proud of you, dude. I just hope this keeps on forever, you know? And this does give me hope for the future that Battle Buddies will have like a good amount of content, but only time will tell. And that's about it. I think I covered a lot here. So if there's things that I haven't covered, you can let me know on what you'd like to see in Battle Buddies 3 or even take away. But I think I made my points and I'm about done here. So with that, I wish you farewell. Goodbye.